Excited to be joined today in another episode of the Film Room with Maddie Scott from over at Ole Miss. First and foremost, Maddie, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. It's somehow we're like already halfway through non-con, which is like
Right?
just doesn't feel
Crazy.
right. Like how are we here? But I mean, it got here fast. Feels like the W just ended. But how's everything been on your end?
Everything's been great. I'm blessed. Excited for what's to come, and I'm looking forward to just continuing to build during this non-con season.
Absolutely. So I want to start too, just like talking about, your journey as a player. Obviously, this is year five, getting to play your grad year. It's funny because I feel like I get so caught up in like what's happening right now and what's going to happen in the future that I like don't always think about the past. And I was looking back and I'm like, man, you think about where this was your first year coming in as a freshman to where it's at now. Going from playing in empty gyms during COVID to now, like, shoot, I mean, started off the season in Paris.
Right.
Um, Obviously, I'm sure you're in the thick of it with, kind of keeping your feet planted. But have you been able to kind of like sit and like think about that for a minute and be like, wow, this is, it's kind of wild to watch how we built this thing and where it's headed.
Yeah, no, that's why I say I'm blessed. I have had the time to sit and reflect, and the opportunity to be going into my fifth season. Well, we're already in it now, but
Yeah.
my fifth season at the university I started at. That means something. It's been amazing to see like where we started and where we are now, and it just keeps us even more hungry. To keep climbing, keep achieving things this season, and just to keep the train going.
No, absolutely. And when you look at just kind of how you've grown throughout your career, how do you feel you've maybe taken the most steps as a player and as a person?
I think mentally, I think my mental has definitely grown, and it's allowed me to grow not only as a ball player, but as a person. It allows me to be the best that I can be each and every day. So I take my mental seriously, and I think I encourage all players, to take their mental seriously because it literally controls and affects everything. So once your mental is right and you're looking at things, where your feet are, staying present, it changes the game.
No, absolutely. What was kind of biggest for you in finding that? Because I think it's great that you have that because I think especially, getting to that next level, a lot of being in that is, figuring out how to be locked in while also knowing like 90% of the time it's not about basketball. Like
Exactly.
so like what has been biggest for you in kind of finding that level of focus and just being where your feet are?
Honestly, my circle. I say it all the time. I sound like a broken record, but I would not be where I am today without my strong support system. It's not a lot of people, but it's strong and it's enough. And they have pushed me and they continue to push me past my limits. So there are people that tell me about myself as well. They tell me the things I don't always want to hear. So they were big on me working on my mental and they held me accountable. And I think that's what really, pushed me, outside my comfort zone, pushed me to really taking it serious because my circle was harping on it heavily. So I thank them because it's definitely helped change my game. And I'm still working on it to this day. I'm not a pro at it quite yet, but, I'm just taking it one day at a time and they're behind me every step of the way.
Yeah, no, there's always room to keep growing, and I think it's great to have that mindset and recognition too. Like, being able to see some of those things already. And I think like when you hear talking about circle, like it's not even always about like who's talking to you, but it's like who you have to talk to every day too, right? Like I think
Exactly.
it's not always there's so much that goes into it that I think you don't even think about when you're in your early 20s as much. So it's like
Exactly.
again, having that is big. In terms of getting to that next level too, though, like obviously, a big reason we're doing this is to talk about your potential as a next level player. Who's been big in your ear for helping you get to that and staying focused on that and kind of making the decisions that you need to be most prepared for the next level?
I don't think I can give credit to one person.
Yeah.
It's definitely taking a village. Like I said, it's not a big village, but it's 5, 6 wise individuals in my life that again are with me through it all. They've been there when I didn't believe in myself. They push me each and every day. They know when to talk to me, when to let me fight through it, and when to let me figure it out. They're just amazing. And without those individuals, I don't know where I would be. Without God guiding me through this journey, I don't know where I would be. So I have to give credit to God in my circle. I tell them all the time, like everything I do is to make them proud. Everything I do is to show them that all the sacrifice, all the support, all the love, it wasn't for nothing. It meant and it means more than they will ever know. And I promise that I won't stop until I make them proud. So that's just my why, what motivates me and what keeps me going. And I can't thank them enough.
I love that. And it's kind of fun too, talking about like your development over the years. Getting to see Sirachinu kind of really step in and be
Oof.
this kind of impactful freshman. Obviously, you guys have different games, but that same idea of like somebody who comes in is able to make an impact right away. What have you seen from her, and what has it kind of been like to see her impact and also think about where she can keep heading?
Yes, no. First, I'm so proud of Sarah. Sarah has been absolutely amazing. It's crazy to think of again. We go back to where we were and where we are now. Seeing Sarah really step into her role on this team, and it hasn't been easy. It's been a journey, but she steps into her role and she does it so well, and she plays a pivotal part in our success. And she knows that, and we let her know that. So it's been great to see her. I honestly don't think we've seen anything yet. I think the sky's the limit. There's so much more to come from her, but I just having Sarah as a freshman and me, heading out my last year being here, it makes me feel, it gives me a sense of um just fulfillment and happiness that this is who's next, that she's who's next. I've been here 5 years, started off as a freshman, and see her, where I was a long time ago, doing 10 times better than me. I tell her all the time, you're even when the days are hard, I tell her you're 10 steps ahead of me as a freshman. So I'm just so proud of her. I just encourage her to keep going, and I hope that she's able to take a few notes from me. I hope I leave a um, just leave a good impression on her, and I hope I show her again what hard work looks like, and I look forward to seeing where she continues to take the program when I'm no longer here.
No, I love hearing that, and I think that that's it's one of the interesting parts, right? Because like when you get to a point, like you start realizing, like, wow, like I am kind of like a vet on this team, right? Like
Right.
I'm the oldest player, like, but so it's cool to kind of see that pouring in a little bit that you can give to the younger players, but also like you think about like the players who came before you. So like who
Yes.
who was kind of
Yes.
big for you? Like especially again talking about that next level. Like, have you gotten to kind of like I know obviously you've been busy, she's been busy, but connect with Quee, connect with like Shakira going into the league, talking about like what their experiences have been like
Yeah.
and how they've kind of handled that.
No, definitely Quee. Quee to this day is one of my good friends. It's bigger than basketball. We've built a relationship that will last forever. Again, I love Quee, proud of Quee, and everything she was able to accomplish this season with the ring. And the sky's the limit for Quee. Is more to come. She's definitely been influential. She's been an inspiration. I'm taking notes from Quee. Seeing everything that she did from getting drafted to sticking on the team, which is very hard to do. And again, she did it, and I say with grace because she was never flustered. She trusted the work that she put in. She trusted God. So definitely, I'm taking notes. I'm trying to do the same thing, God willing. So definitely, Quee has been somebody that's been huge in my journey. We just texted the other day, and she's telling me, things that I need to hear. Holding me accountable, and that's again, it's a testament to Ole Miss and this special place because this is a relationship that I built that will last forever. So it's definitely bigger than basketball, but basketball allowed us to connect. So forever grateful.
Yeah, no, that's really great insight because I think that's such a great point. Like I am super high on Quee, like somebody who I think went way under the radar too much last year.
Yes.
Um, that I think is going to have a real impact in the league. It just takes time, but like exactly like you said, I think finding out how to okay, you go from being somebody who's averaging 20 points per game, playing a hell of a season last year, to like I have to
Yes.
figure out how to be the 11th person on a team. So like obviously that's you're not there yet. That's something to like you don't have to think about it yet. But like in
Right.
terms of being that kind of translation to the next level and being able to figure out like what it means to make that impact again, having to kind of figure out your role again. What is when you look at kind of making that transition to the next level? What do you think is like the biggest thing for you in your translation, or things that you've looked at that um, you feel like okay, these are the things I can really nail down and be bringing to a team when I get into the next level?
I think staying true to who I am. When you come to the league, I won't be, from being fifth year in college, the vet in a way to go into the league where I'm the little fish.
Yeah,
I have a lot of vets and a lot of great players ahead of me. It's just important that I stay true to who I am, but also be a sponge at the same time. I'm hungry, and I'm excited, and I'm willing to do anything it takes to be great. And I want to pull from all these great players, take notes and just continue to add to my game. But then also staying true to who I am, knowing what I do best and continuing that at the next level, which will be a challenge. These women are the best in the world, so it'll be a challenge, but just, bringing that energy, bring the things that you don't teach, that energy, that effort, having a great attitude, being a great teammate, playing the game the right way, and staying where my feet are, trusting God. I really believe that that would be, the what I need to be successful at the next level. So, uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And I think, well, to add to, I mean, I think you bring stuff right away that like just, I mean, I don't want to say that's not there at the pro level, but you just have like a skill set that I mean, you can't teach. And obviously, you have excelled and gotten better in a lot of areas too to improve that. But like you said, I know every game you're going to bring the same baseline of energy, and you're going to be tough as nails on defense, and not just
yes,
tough. Because I think like people like one of the things I hate honestly is like when people say like defense isn't a skill, it's just effort. It is a skill. Like you have to put stuff into it. Like
definitely.
you have to be aware off the ball. You have to be able to do multiple things. Like, and you bring that. And I think that is something like with where the league is headed, with where the game is headed. Like being able to do multiple things on defense and be good at it is so key. And you bring that. And
I
obviously, a ton
appreciate
that we'll
that.
dive into. Oh, of course, a ton that we'll dive into offensively as well. But like, I think right off rip, like that kind of thing, that's what you got to think about with the next level. And I think immediately when I see like I think versatile playmaker is what I think with your game on both
Yeah.
ends. I mean, kind of off that too. When you like just talking about the next level, are you somebody who's watching a lot of basketball? Like, do you like watch the W much, or how much are you kind of keeping up outside your own film?
Yes, yes, I'm a big basketball fan. I love the game. I love where our game has grown. I'm a huge fan, and I'm tuned in any chance that I can. Not only with women, but I watch the men as well. I'm just a sponge and trying
Basketball
to
is
learn.
basketball. Yeah,
Right, I'm trying to learn and grow, and get it from any facet that I can. So, any game that's on, anything basketball, especially women's basketball, I'm tuned in for
no,
sure.
definitely. Lastly, before we get into the film, is there anybody who modeled your game actors? Maybe the wrong way to put it, but like, who are players that you feel like you've taken bits and pieces from as you've grown up as a player? Like to kind of build the game to where it's at.
Definitely, I have a few. So, well, my favorite player of all time is Kobe Bryant. Number 24. That's why
I
that's
see
my
it.
number. His mentality was just different, and that's something that I'm striving for to this day. I'm working hard to get my mental to even just half of where his was. His toughness, his grit. Again, his mentality was just different, and I really am working, like I said, each and every day to get to that point. So he's somebody that I watch videos of to this day. I read his books. I'm always trying to learn and just pull from him because again, he's the goat of my eyes, and he showed it each and every time he stepped in between those four lines. As far as the women's side, Candace Parker, simply because of her versatility. She's amazing. She can do everything, and I am a person that I'll do whatever my team needs me to do on any given night. If it's go out there and score a lot of points, I will. But also, I like to stuff the stat sheet. I like to get assists. I get hype off getting my teammates involved. I like to get rebounds. I like to get a big block, a big stop. The game of basketball can be impacted all different ways, and it's more than just scoring to me. So I think Candace Parker is absolutely amazing. She will always be the GOAT. And she showed that she can impact the game in every way possible. And she's the reason why, she won everywhere she went. She's a winner and she showed that. Um, and also another player in the NBA, I really, really like Brandon Ingram.
Hmm.
And the reason being his mid range shot. I love the mid range. His ability to rise over his defenders. It's unblockable. It's unguardable. He's absolutely amazing. He's even expanded his game to the three, which makes him even harder to guard. So those individuals, I'm always learning. I'm always taking notes, and I'm just trying to add little things to my game, and it resembles them in some way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially like right when you said BI, I was like, oh man, I could totally see that in how you dribble. I feel like you guys have
Yes,
like the same kind of like hang dribble, hang cross to get into your midi, like so
yes,
much. But no, a lot of great knowledge there. Like you said, I think it's funny because so often I think players come in thinking like, I have to be what I was at college to keep getting to where I want to be. And so often, like you said, I like you got to start from here to get to
right,
there. Like it can't
right,
just be all at once. Like when you can come in and play and do all of those things versatility wise, like you mentioned, I think like that gives you the foundation to okay, you got to get trust from a new coach, you got to get
exactly,
trust in a new place, and then you can build up from there. And I think that's again a great mindset to have. Um, Especially with Candace too, like you mentioned. I think that's the fun part of watching Candace. Like you
yes,
watch her game, and she got to a point later in her career where like, I mean, she had a counter for everything, and
everything,
I think on both ends too. That's what made her so
yes,
fantastic. Like the way she
yes,
thought the game, saw the game. Like it wasn't just like being able to score. It was like you can do so many other different things, and it was that stuff's you can't. It's just really impossible to find that kind of stuff,
Right,
honestly.
right.
All right. Well, let me get this film pulled up. I'm
So,
excited to dive through. We're gonna go through all different facets of your game because there's a lot to dive into, like you mentioned with the versatility piece. I mean, obviously, we got a lot to look at.
yes.
Before we dive into the film, I'd like to shout out our sponsor for this video series, State Champs. State Champs is a streetwear brand based in Ohio, focused on building up women's sports and local sports. Check out their website at the link down below for the apparel collab we've done recently. Any purchases there directly support my work, and hey, you can get some cool swag as well. Back to the film. Things I want to ask you about. Your playmaking to me is something that stands out. Like obviously as a point forward, kind of in that same mold as Candace. Like how have you felt yourself grow as a playmaker? Because like I watch you from your freshman year. Like obviously you had the ability to make plays, but like I think the consistency and how you see the court and are able to make plays is something that like we don't see that kind of growth very often. So like how did that kind of come about for you? What like really led that for you?
Well, first, I've always been a player that loves to get my teammates involved. Like I said, I get more excited off of assists than I do when I score personally.
Yeah.
I just get hyped to see my teammates, show what they've been working so hard on. So I love to pass already. But also I think just the position I've been in, I've been able to play at a university and play for Coach and Coach Yo that has allowed me to play my game. She has everything that I work on and that I show that I can do. She allows me to do so, and she pushes me even further and past my limit and introduces new things to me as well. So I think that our style of play, the way we play, has allowed me to be the versatile playmaker that I like to be. So that's allowed me to be successful. And also with that, I think that unfortunately different situations have put me in positions, that
Mhm.
not necessarily that I wanted to be in, but last year with our PG KKDs going down, I had to play the point guard for a good portion of the season. Me and Toddy actually, it was a group effort, but
Yeah.
we it was mainly us, and I think that circumstance, was very unfortunate, and I wish it didn't happen. It definitely helped me expand my game because it put me in a position where I had to be more of a playmaker and get people involved. Also, I still looking for myself as well. So finding that balance, I think, helped me, and it's still helping me right now. So that situation definitely taught me a little bit more of the playmaking side, just how to balance the floor, pace, all the things that the point guards have to worry about, that they do so well at. It gave me, the lens of a point guard for a little bit, and it definitely helped grow my game.
Yeah, no, again, I really enjoy hearing that because I think like obviously that injury sucked and having to see that sucked. And I remember talking
Yes.
about this with Toddy too, but like it was really special to watch how you guys were able to grow off that because I think so often the growths that you make in the game are not always concerted. It's something that happens because you have to.
Right.
And being able to make those adjustments throughout the season, like watching you guys hit that stride towards like middle SEC play on was really cool. So it was like, you could see that there was so
Appreciate
much
that.
potential with this group and
Yes.
like having to change up. Like it just makes it hard, but like that's where you see the great teams and great players come from. So it was cool to see
Exactly.
that. I want to kick off by looking at the way that you start off in transition because I think to me transition is where you really shine. One of the places where you really shine, and obviously you guys as a team too. Obviously starting off with tremendous block, which we'll get into more later. But like I just think again, you always have your eyes up. You're always looking to get to the paint, and you always find if there's an open player, you're getting the ball to them.
Definitely.
But yeah, so just in general, like I think having a player who like I mean, so much to the next level again, like, okay, cool, you can rip and run as a forward. Like it seems small, but it just does little things to like invert the floor, make it harder to play against. Like I love that you bring
Yes.
that to the game.
Thank you.
Of course. So right here too, like looking at your playmaking in the half court, like I think what's fun is you bring playmaking in a lot of different ways. Like you can do it with the ball in your hands, obviously, like starting off a play, but
Right.
also when it's part of a play, like you just make a smart move, smart cut, drive. As soon as you see somebody touch the paint, kick. Like it's easy stuff, but like it's stuff that if you doing it consistently makes it really tough because
Yes.
again, everybody being a playmaker on the court is what the next level is about.
Yes.
Especially too, like just kind of being a player who can like I think one of the things I love about watching you guys play is like so much of it is just playing basketball. Like obviously you guys run plays, you're gonna do a lot, but it's also like, all right, we're playing there's a decent amount of one on one and being able to create out of that. And I think that really
Yes.
teaches you to see how to find advantages outside of the play. And that's one of
Definitely.
those areas where I feel like you really excel. Is that something you feel like you've kind of grown in?
Yes, yes, definitely. I think also a testament to Ole Miss. Also, my last summer, my stint with 3x3 with USA Basketball.
Hmm.
I think that really helped as well because 3x3 you can't hide. Only three people on the court. You got 12 seconds to score. It's going really quick. So it definitely helped with the playmaking and being able to the pace. And being able to see the floor. So
Definitely.
definitely.
Yeah, and you hit that point on, talking about last year having to balance being a scorer and a playmaker. Can you
Yes.
expand on that a little bit? Because I think like that's something that people can really struggle with, like trying to
Yes.
find that. So what was that like for you, and sort of finding that balance, and how you've carried that over to this year?
So I think I'm still working on it to this day. I think that the biggest thing is just always thinking uh, think about playing basketball the right way. I can't harp on that enough. Like I'm a player, like I said, that likes to fill the whole stat sheet. So when I'm out there, like I'm not thinking just me. I'm thinking about the advantage
Hmm.
basketball. That's kind of how my mind is set up. So whatever's gonna get us the advantage as you seen on that last play, like a paint touch. Get into the paint and drawing that extra defender because I know I have a great shooter in the corner that's very capable of knocking that shot down. So again, in transition, building that advantage. I know I got to take off and look up. It shouldn't. I don't need 3, 4 dribbles because Sarah is running out every single time. Her motor is incredible. So it also goes to learning your teammates. I think that's a big thing too that we oftentimes take for granted. Like, and it's different now with the portal and having different teammates every year and stuff like that. But I really make it a point to learn my teammates, learn what they like to do, learn what they love to do. So that way, not only am I helping them be successful and putting them in position to be successful, but they're doing the same thing for me as well. It's a partnership. Everybody doing their role so that the betterment of the teams that way we can be successful together. So that's just how it is. Learning who you're playing with, learning the spots, being unselfish, but also knowing that sometimes it's you as well, and that's the balance. Knowing that sometimes percentages, your shot, your layup is just as good or has a higher percentage than that three. So just making the right plays, trusting the work you put in, and also trusting your teammates as well.
No, absolutely. I think that's all great points. I can't harp on it enough. Um, yeah. So again, like looking at you more as getting to continue to do stuff as a playmaker, like so just quick out of horns into a flare. I think what stands out to me about this, like you're a player that you have to go over on, in my opinion. Like I think it's really hard to go under on you because number one, you can hit that shot. I think it's something you're gonna continue to take more at the next level.
Yes,
But
sir.
even more so, like I think it's really hard to go under on you because you can still drive right to the basket anyways. Um, but again, like just being able to create out of this stuff, like it's big time stuff.
Thank you.
Having KK back too, what has that been
Wow.
like having somebody who like I think what she's taking like 7 threes a game right now?
Yes. Yes.
So it's been really cool seeing how her impact has been. But what has that felt like for you getting to really feel that out? Because you guys only have to play what 3, 4 games together last year.
Yes.
So what has that been like for you?
Oh no, it's been great to have KK back. That's our lieutenant, that's our point guard. That's our captain on the court. So it's been great to have her back. Her ability to shoot the ball is incredible because guess what? It spaces out the floor. So now we have more driving lanes. Now even me, when I'm playing that four position and I'm setting that screen for KK, they can't go under. They go under, that's going up. So it helps that now we have a guard that's knocking down those shots to where they have to go over, which opens up the lane for her. May you have the roll or you have the feel. So I think just her playmaking ability. She also is a great passer. She's always looking to get the ball out of her hands. So just the 3-point shot and her passing ability and her basketball IQ, it just pushes us to another level. So I'm so happy to have her back, and I know she's gonna have a great season. And I'm just excited to be along on her journey.
No, I love that. And I think, like you said, I mean, even looking at some of this stuff with, oh, I know I was looking at the wrong thing. I went one play ahead, but I think one of the ways that you really excel too, being able to play out of the post, like, even if it's not always scoring, I think your vision and height, like, again, like we talk about versatility and playmaking, like,
Yeah.
you're a mismatch constantly. You're a mismatch for bigs, you're a mismatch for guards. And I think part of that's a testament to how you play because you always play bigger than you are, which I think is so I love that. Oh, okay, cool, you're back. Sorry, it disappeared
Sorry,
for a
I don't
second.
know what happened.
Oh no, you're good. But like you always play bigger than you are. Like one of the things that is so tough, especially at the next level, like you can't play small. Like you
Right,
got to play with as much size as possible, right?
right,
So being able to just use your height vision again, it's like as soon as you draw anything, you're just getting the ball moving, and it's simple stuff. You don't get the assist, but you may as well. You create the advantage, and that's all that matters.
right, exactly.
And to me too, like again, part of what I love this too is like it's not even like I mean the play is technically just drawn. Like, I mean it works for you because the play gets to you, but like this is stuff that you can just do in offense. Like
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
have that height, you have the ability to make that tough. You got to guard it. So I love it.
Thank you.
Um, Here, so yeah, talking about some of the screen stuff again, like your ability to like we've already looked. Okay, so we saw you carrying the ball up in transition. We saw you running pick and roll. We saw
Hmm.
you playing in the post, and now you get to screen. And I think this is an area where I'm excited for you to do even more of this year because we've already seen more of that. Like you said, playing off KK.
Yes.
I loved in this first game seeing you get into some pick and pop stuff because I think that's an area where you can keep getting to in this next year and just keep moving forward because like
Yes, sir.
you have KK getting downhill, and then you're there, and like that's, I mean, that's money. And I know I want to ask you because I know you don't take a lot of threes right now and haven't
Yes.
throughout your career, but I feel really good about your shot. Like for reference for people, you shot 43% on off the dribble jumpers last year, and you took, I mean, shit, everything was tough.
Hmm.
You have the height, you have the release. I think there's obviously always stuff you can clean up mechanically.
Definitely.
I think footwork wise and shot prep, there's stuff there, but like I watch you and I think, I mean, you have the touch, you have the range. It's just a question of me of like just taking more, honestly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Um, but yeah, because again, like when you can start doing this and you keep doing this consistently, then it opens up so much for you to like, okay, getting downhill and doing this, like
Right.
getting to play as the roller. And I think for me too, like people think like, oh, I'm more of a wing. Why would I be a roller? I'm like, it's not even about like being a big. It's about like you talked about advantage basketball. You
Right.
get open in this pocket like this, you have the vision, you can make stuff happen, but also you're quick as hell and you can get to the rim and you just draw a foul. Like
Right.
that's two easy points. All we want at the next level is easiest points possible. How can
Okay.
you be most efficient? And I think you doing that is like opening up more of that is awesome. Especially like being a player, like obviously not that you've never done this before, but
Right.
like being somebody who kind of has worked to be comfortable in playing so many different spots.
Right.
What has that been like for you and kind of finding some of that? Because I think that's one of the things that's been really fun to see with you is like you're just able to really excel in multiple areas.
Definitely shout out to Coach O, for that. Like I said, I've been in this program in our system 5 years now. And she constantly is putting me in positions that's going to make me uncomfortable because at the end of the day, it's going to allow me to grow and just continue to better myself, as a player. So she allows me to play points. She allows me to play that wing spot. She allows me to play that forward spot. Uh, and again, it's a testament also to my work as well. I've shown that I can also guard. That 2 through 4, 2 through 5, 1 through 5, honestly. So it's been great. But it's Ole Miss in this program. They just continue to develop me, continue to put me in positions to be successful, and so big shout out to this system and to Coach Hill.
Absolutely. And you're running away with it. So like you said, it's a testament to your work as well. So I love seeing that.
Thank you.
Um, and then like again, I think even right here, like it's not even necessarily an action. It's just you get the play drawn. You just get kicked to you at the end. The mismatch aspect, like Rhea Marshall is a really good defender. She's
Yes,
really quick for a five, and you're able to dust her off the dribble. Like this kind of stuff again. And shot doesn't go in, but I watch this and I'm like, you keep taking that three, you keep doing stuff like that, and it makes it so tough because if you get any kind of switch on you, like
yes,
just it's anybody that gets on you and you're in that kind of situation, like that's just not easy to guard.
definitely.
I wanted to ask too, like going and playing in Paris.
Mm,
How did you? I know obviously there's probably an aspect of like Dobo handling and stuff with strength and conditioning, but like handling game prep for that, right? Because it's like I think that's something that flies under the radar, especially with travel and how all that's continuing to pop off. Like how do you handle like obviously somebody who's consistent, always working on being in ready to get into a game,
right.
but it's different. Like okay, cool, we're flying a couple thousand miles, games at a very different time than we're used
Yes.
to. What was that like in kind of feeling that preparation out? Because again, that's more of like thinking at that next level. It's something that you are gonna have to contend with.
Definitely, it was definitely an adjustment, but I think it helped us going there days before. It kind of allowed us to get on that schedule, their time zone, and also I think just what I've experienced beforehand. Like I said, my 3x3 stint from playing in France, I was already played in France before with 3x3, playing in Chile, playing in Canada, and different countries. Like it's just been, I've been able to experience, flying in and having to play or having to adjust really quickly and hooping, you know.
Mhm.
So I think this again, what I've already experienced kind of helps me with my day to day, and helps me, you know, with trips that we have. Even the Bahamas coming up, it'll be an adjustment. But again, we're flying in days before, so it gives, you know, all of us days to adjust to the time and get our sleep schedule back together. So it's not too hard.
Yeah.
And our staff is great with accommodating us and making sure that we're ready to go.
Yeah, I will say too though, it still is a credit to you because I think like it can be easy to like, cool, we're in Paris, like time to like live it up a little bit. Like,
Right,
having that focus is important. Um,
definitely.
and then yeah, I mean, continuing on, like your slashing ability at your size is just, I mean, it's one of my favorite aspects of your game. And again, you play with strength, you play through contact really well. Um, any kind of action that gets you like being able to attack face up, especially slot, anything like that is, it's just really tough to contend with.
Thank
Mhm. Yeah, and then I love this play. So like, because again, like having to close out to you because you hit that three earlier. I think you had a second three in this game.
you. Yes.
Um, you have to be closed out on. Like you're not a player that you can just leave open. And I love how you kind of like, obviously you get to your spot here, but I love running Kiki into the screen. Like I don't know if it was intentional, but watching it, it felt intentional. And I think like that's just little things like that. It's so
Yeah.
big in opening things up for you, right? Because like
Yes, sir.
using what you have on the court, using your teammates, your players, like that's, I mean, that's great stuff.
Thank you.
Especially being in this game, playing against the bigger front court. How did that like change up approach at all? Or like how did you kind of like, going into that game thinking through how you wanted to attack it or how you guys wanted to approach it as a team? What was that like, just kind of thinking through that, especially because there wasn't any film on them yet.
Right. We just wanted to go in, showing that we belong. You know, this uh, like we said, this is year 5 of me being here, and this was our first game, our first big game. You know, as the first game of the season. You know, it just showed how much our program has grown, how much our program continues to grow and just excel. You know, each year we get better, better, and better. And this game was a big first game. You know, and we just wanted to not have any regrets. We wanted to show that we belong. We had chances to win this game. You know, it's still is a sore spot for me because we had a lot of chances to win this game by doing things that, you know, we could have controlled. But it's okay because we learn from it. We're continuing to learn from it. You know, it will definitely help us later on down the line when we see, you know, more high caliber teams like this one. But it was just again when you're a competitor, you know, and you want to compete at everything you do. You want to compete against whoever you're going against. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we have to lace up our shoes just like they do, and our mindset is showing up. You know, when the bright lights turn on. So definitely was still hard with first game and sore anxiety and being in a whole different country and but at the end of the day we were blessed to be in that position and we just wanted to make the most out of that opportunity.
Absolutely. No, it's a great mindset. And I do just want to rewind to you because part of what I love here, like, I mean, Kiki's a really good athlete, good defender. She's somebody who's going to play probably a decent amount of the floor at the next level. And like, I
Yes.
think, again, your quickness and ability to just continue to present mismatches, like, because I think you're somebody like you talked about with your defense, which we're about to get to, like, you can play 2 through 4. You can play the one. I mean, you can really play kind of anywhere on court. And I think, again, that's what makes it so tough because, like, I mean, it changes up how teams can play. When you can bring what you bring offensively on top of what you do defensively, so it just
Definitely.
continues to stand out. Because even right here too, like just like a quick pitch play, able to get downhill, stays in front. But then, I mean, that mid range is always tough from you, and it's like we talked about earlier, counters, like having those counters, being able to continue to see those things. Yeah, I think you do such a great job of feeling like if somebody's on your hip, cool, I know what I can get to. If somebody, if you take the wrong step, I know what I can get to. Like that's just like you talked about with like Bi with Kobe. Like that's
Yes.
very much bringing kind of that same level of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, when did you kind of first feel like you had, the fadeaway became like something that you could like really work with because it's, I mean, it's a weapon for you.
Watching Kobe, honestly,
Yeah.
that fadeaway. Honestly, my favorite shot is that turnaround jumper. And you know, I'm definitely best when I face up and see the basket first. But when I'm in a rhythm and that pace is up and I get that ball, like when I turn around and get to my high release point and shoot it, I really trust that shot. I've worked on it tremendously. And it just comes from watching Kobe, watching Brandon Ingram, watching a lot of players that have perfected that turnaround shot. And it just makes it difficult, because again, let's say off the crab dribble or off the back down, I can turn and go either way and shoot over either shoulder. So I think it's even though it's looked at as a low percentage shot, sometimes for me, it's a high percentage shot in my bag, and I really like it, and I want to continue to perfect it.
Yeah, well, it's a great point too because I think so much like there can be a lot of talk around like what efficiency looks like, and
Right,
obviously it's important like especially in the pro level. I think it's different in college because there's different kinds of talents, different teams build differently. But in the pros, like everybody's going towards that, right? But I think
right.
it's like you talked about, it's a good shot for you. Like when you are the kind of player who is efficient in those shots, you're going to get the opportunities to take them. So, yeah, I don't expect that we're going to see the fadeaway go away anytime after this season.
Good, good.
Again, like just watching this, I every time I rewatching this game, I just kept thinking to myself, mismatch, mismatch, because you take this shot and that's what opened up that drive that we
Right,
looked at a couple plays ago. Like it's all mismatch stuff. Like it's just what things are we willing to give away when you're able to really score from all three levels and take advantage of things, and then oh hey, you can make these plays and we can't really afford to double team you. Like it's
right.
just, I mean, that stuff is really exciting to me. Um, so transition and defense too. I want to ask right here because like just when like I know looking at early offense stuff, you're gonna see a ton of early drag screens, things like that. Um, and also I shouldn't have started with this play because I didn't mean this as like a
No,
bad
let's
thing, but
start with it
like
because let's talk
yeah,
about it. I
yeah,
was real upset after this
yeah.
play.
Well, like when you are feeling this out, like obviously because again, Juju somebody who really wants to push and transition and get
Yes,
out. Like how are you like looking back in this one? Like I think obviously there's an element of like communication and knowing like being on top of that as a team.
yes.
But, thinking about like looking at early offense stuff, how would you maybe approach this one again?
Definitely never go under with Juju. Juju
Yeah.
is an incredible player. That was not the game plan. That was a total mishap on my part, and I told my team that's on me. And as you can see, I think it was a couple plays later, we ended up doing it correctly. But I'm
Mhm.
thinking because me and Star, I think that Star right there,
Yeah,
we're like
star.
size. I'm thinking we're blueing, which is
Switch.
switching
Yeah.
for us. Yes, so I'm thinking we're switching, and really, I went under to try to jam the post early,
Yeah.
but I shouldn't have because Star wasn't there yet. So that was completely on mine. I definitely should have went over and fought over. And even if we still needed to blue it, I just would have had to fight over the top to stay in front of Rhea. Um, but definitely on my part, that was a bad call. Definitely shouldn't have went under on Juju, and we adjusted later on, which was good.
Yeah. I love what you said too though, because I think that's the hard part of defense, right? Like I think so much of defense is not individual. Like obviously, like here it can be seen as an individual play, but like, if you aren't working in tandem to call something out, then hey, it's gonna open up. And I think so
Right,
much of defense is like cutting down margins for error, right? And like being
right.
able to see that stuff. I do want to say though, I love that like if because that exactly what you said is what I figured. I thought you were thinking it was a switch. I love jamming up a post like that on a switch. Like you don't want to
Yes.
give up the roll. You want to make something tough. Like that's good
Want them to
stuff.
catch it outside the paint, so
Exactly.
jamming them high, definitely.
Exactly. Um, so right here too, looking at just your ability to play with strength. Like I said earlier, I think you are somebody who always plays with an extra level of physicality. Obviously inside the lines too. I think you do a great job of not getting in foul trouble, but like being able to always stay vertical, stay into somebody, like I mean that's great stuff playing against somebody who's like really more of a true back to the basket big.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Because again, like I know that this game didn't end how you guys won, but I think seeing what you can do again defensively, like you always put it on film, but here, like I think you did such a great job with pickup points on Juju too, like finding ways because she's somebody who always wants to get to a quick reject. Finds like I think
Definitely.
that's one of the things that always throws people off playing against them. Like when she sees the screen, her pacing, especially that size, is just like different. That's not something a lot of
Definitely.
people see. So you do a great job. Yeah, continue to slide, stay in front. And again, like the being able to stay vertical, I think you do a great job of not trying to like chase things too much.
Thank
Because
you.
right here, this is an easy one where like as soon as somebody goes up and under, oh cool, I'm up in the air, I'm screwed. But no, you do a good job staying flat here.
Thank you.
hmm But yeah, and I mean, like, kind of thinking on this too, because again, when I watch you, I think at the next level, like, you're a player who I think can really be like a pretty special defender, like, especially guarding anybody, but also really guarding some of the best players in the league. So when you think of like a player like a Juju, like just kind of like a wing who can really create from all levels, what do you feel is most key to like being able to guard at all those spots? Because obviously you want to be aware, you don't want to sell out too much for one thing, but obviously
Definitely.
like locking in on tendencies and stuff.
Definitely. Of course, the biggest thing is knowing the scout. Again, these are great players. Juju is a great player and will continue to get even greater, as her career continues. But you're not going to stop them from scoring. You're not going to stop great players from scoring, but your job is to make it hard for them. Your
Hmm.
job is to compete. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm very, very competitive. I
It
compete
comes
in everything
across,
that I
yeah.
do. Yes, very, very competitive. So matchups like this excite me. And honestly, I wish I would have guarded her more throughout the game. Honestly, I wish that I would have taken that challenge on earlier in the game. So I was mad at myself about that. Um, but I wanted to compete and just make it hard for her. Again, she's an incredible player, so she's going to score some. But I wanted to make it as tough as possible. Just use length, don't foul, and know that where she's trying to get to. So that was the biggest thing.
No, definitely, and it showed. Because again, like we're talking about, I mean, the clip before, you're guarding Kiki, who's going to be a lottery pick in this draft, incredibly
Yes.
well, and then you're guarding Juju really well, and like again, that versatility, because that's the important part. Like I think so often people hear versatility, they think versatility, and it's like, okay, well, I can do stuff, and I'm like, okay, you got to be able to do stuff and have the trust to keep
Right.
doing it.
Right.
And with what you bring on defense, like I think that expands so much of what you're going to be able to do on offense. Because if you're versatile on defense, you're going to get the chance to do a lot of different things on offense
Right.
and be on the court, and that
Exactly.
is like that's so key.
Thank you.
Hmm. Sorry, not making it sound like I'm trying to gas you, but like I really like your game. You
I
do a lot of
appreciate
really
that.
great things.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, of course. So right here too, I love this because I think they're trying to attack an empty side with Kiki and Juju. Let's run it through a screen, put a five in action, do a great job singing in the screen like we talked about earlier, and then just getting back. Like I think this is great stuff. Like because I love to like whenever switches happen, I think players so often think like, okay, well I just need to. It's just a switch, whatever. Um, but you do a great job of like hard switching, and I think you guys do this as a team. Like obviously, coach
Yes.
does an incredible job teaching it because like we talked about jamming into stuff. Like there's no gap here. Like where is the pass supposed to come from? Like
Right. Right.
also shout out Christine. She's been really fun to watch with you
Yes.
guys this year. I love your impact.
Yes.
But like just being big, maintaining your gap presence, like there's nothing there to create.
Definitely. Definitely. In that moment, I had to get back. There was
Hmm.
nothing. I wanted to guard her. I wanted to be on her. The game, fourth quarter is go time, last 10 minutes. So that was just me coming back to get back on that assignment. I needed to get back, and
No,
Christine definitely
absolutely.
did a good job with keeping her there.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the hard part too, right? Because like obviously you want to take on those assignments, but also like you never want to give up scheme. You always want to be in the right
Right.
spot. Like
Right.
it makes it tough. And then here too, like I think this one shows just your ability to again, like we're talking about playing against. I mean, you're a great player playing against great players. Like um, this quick reject into a push dribble is something does a lot. That is just again really tough because I think people still don't understand like watching on court how like Juju's like legit 6'2".
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and again, so people handling at that size, like with that kind of pace, composure, like hard to play against. But I think your ability to slide with this and recover, like that's tough. Like I just think when I watch this as an offensive person, I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? And obviously, great help from Dottie too to show me. But
Yes,
like,
great help from Toddy.
um,
And is that
and
Sarah right
Sierra,
there
yeah, I
running
mean,
the
this is
floor?
great. This
Yes.
is Ole Miss defense, right?
Yes,
But again,
yes.
like I just think the ability to when it's a quick hitter like that to be able to stick with it and just make it hard, like that's great stuff that you can't teach.
Also shout out to Coach O because we teach here, sprint technique. We don't teach slide. I really shouldn't have slid the first
Hmm.
couple steps. But when we teach sprinting to get back in front, meeting them there, and also, meeting them where we're not fouling, escorting them to the basket. So
Yeah,
definitely shout out to Ole Miss.
absolutely. And then yeah, just closing out too. I think your defensive playmaking is something that always stands out. Like you do a really great job of like kind of blurring the lines a little bit, right? Like obviously you never want to gamble, but I think you're so good at being able to make those reads and make the right plays. Like if there's a lofted pass, RIP. So like getting out and that fuels your transition play too, like being able
Right.
to build off that. And then same thing too. I think you do a really great job of this is a nasty block, but like I think you do a really great job of seeing stuff with reading shot clock and knowing the timing. Like even
Definitely.
I originally had like a lot more clips, but I cut down because I don't want to keep you for forever. But there's like numerous plays where I think you do a great job of like, if somebody tries to drag you baseline to put you in a odd tag position or just get
Right.
out, like I think you do a great job of like, okay, maybe I have an opportunity to make a play here because of where the shot clock's at. And like I think seeing little things like that, like you even said it earlier, like so much of defense is multiple efforts, like being
Yes.
in the play because like I don't know how much you watched the W finals, but like that game five, all of
Mm,
game five is like everything is getting to the last 10 seconds of the shot clock because you're so
definitely.
scouted out, you're so on
Yes.
top of
So
everything.
familiar with one
Yep.
another.
And so like I
Yes.
mean
Yes.
that's the difference making in games, right? Like being able
Right.
to not just make one play, but like continuous plays, being on top of things, shutting it down. Like it's just I mean it's good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, Maddie, this is all I got film wise. I really appreciate you doing this. Is there anything that you want to mention or hit on before we close out?
No, sir. I really appreciate, the opportunity to come on here and talk about what I love, which is basketball, and talk about, the place that has been home for me and that I love, which is Ole Miss. So thank you so much for, giving me this platform to get on here and talk a little bit and to watch film. It was definitely a, great experience. And I look forward to talking with you down the line.
No, I appreciate that. To everyone watching, of course, keep up with everything that Ole Miss and Matt you're doing. It's going to be a great year. Has been a great start to the year already. A lot of great stuff ahead. If you haven't already, go subscribe down below. Again, keep up with everything Ole Miss and enjoy the rest of your day.